Hello, everybody. This is Ryan Stano, the host of Ohio State Primetime Live and the Ohio State Collins Show. Just want to give a quick video about the commitment of Sam Greer. He is the newest Ohio State Buckeye. He is an in-state offensive lineman, and he is now Tyler Bowen's second recruit that he has landed since becoming the new offensive line coach at Ohio State. And Greer is from Archbishop Hoban, Akron High School. He's a four-star kid, and he's about 6'7", 310 pounds. He's someone that Ohio State really likes. They think that even though he's not the highest rated recruit in the country, or even really in the state of Ohio, they think he's got a lot of potential. They can coach him up, and Bowen believes that they can make him into a pretty solid offensive lineman. And you really have to admire what Bowen has done so far with how he's attacked recruiting since he's come to Ohio State. His philosophy has been to offer a lot of the top kids in the country, and also a lot of the top kids in the state of Ohio. And because of that, he has been able to really get a lot of top prospects interested in Ohio State. And, because of that, their numbers are going to increase along the offensive line. They've had a depth problem the last few years because of Justin Fry's lack of recruiting, so they're trying to get this. So here's Greer's profile. As you can see, he's not exactly the best rated tackle in the state of Ohio. He's ranked 7th. But he's still a four-star kid. Had a lot of top schools after him. I mean, Auburn was certainly in the mix. He had a bunch of offers. He had 25 total offers, but he's someone who is also a pretty good basketball player. So he's athletic. He's able to get down the field, and he's, someone who really has good long-term potential. They're not expecting him to make an impact right away, but they think he can develop into someone who can make an impact down the line. It was actually really interesting. Today, Greer made the decision to commit to Ohio State, and he actually went ahead and told Ryan Day, and then went over and told Tyler Bowen, and his reaction was pretty priceless. So I encourage you guys to go ahead and check that out on social media. But as far as what this means for Ohio State moving forward, Ohio State is looking to increase the number of offensive linemen that they have. Like I said, they lost 4 last year. They, 4 of the guys who they were expecting to start last year are now gone. They don't have Donovan Jackson. They don't have Josh Simmons. Seth McLaughlin's gone. Like, Josh Fryer's out of town, or, out of here. So they got a lot of guys they have to replace up front. Now, they're not expecting, obviously Greer doesn't come in until 2026, but they don't have a whole lot of depth on the offensive line. When Fry was the offensive line coach, he wasn't getting people who were, he wasn't adding just sheer numbers. He was focusing on specific guys that he thought he could develop. He never got a 5-star recruit, which was one of the big knocks against him. But obviously, we saw he can develop guys. I mean, this past year with what Ohio State was able to do on the offensive line with the amount of injuries they had, you can't take that away from Fry. So, Greer is someone who they think can, possibly develop into someone who can contribute maybe as a junior. They're not looking to him, obviously, to do something right away unless there are injuries that happen. But it's all part of Bowen's plan. He is now the second in-state recruit to commit to Ohio State as an offensive lineman. They also have Maxwell Riley, who's another 4-star tackle recruit that they went ahead and grabbed. So Bowen is just trying to amass the numbers up front, get that depth started, and they're going to take a lot of offensive linemen in this class. It would not be surprising to me to see them have 4 or 5 offensive linemen in this class, and I think that's a minimum. They are obviously going to use the transfer portal as well as they can to get some added depth and maybe get some starting pieces down the line. They still are potentially looking at getting more offensive line help in the spring transfer portal once that window opens. So that would further shore up the depth up front as well. But, next year, They've got some other highly ranked offensive line recruits that they are still hoping they can land. I know me and Garrison talked about on the show last night about Jackson Cantwell. That doesn't seem like that's going to work out for Ohio State. It doesn't seem like he's going to end up in Columbus, which is fine. They've got a lot of other guys that they have their eyes on who are still highly ranked recruits that they would like to grab. And quite honestly, Bowen's got a lot of other guys in the state of Ohio that he's looking at picking up in case some of those, high 4 or 5 star kids don't end up coming to Columbus. So he's got a plan. He clearly has a defined plan on how he wants to attack this recruiting cycle. And Bowen, when he was hired, like I mentioned before, he was known as a great recruiter, has a little bit of questions as far as development goes. And that's why Brian Day surrounded him with a lot of offensive analysts that he hired who have previous offensive line coaching experience. So he, Day thinks that the way Bowen is approaching things is going to greatly benefit Ohio State moving forward. I tend to agree. I do like how wide of a net Bowen is casting. Fry was not casting as wide of a net, and it really hurt them up front as far as the depth goes. I mean, we saw that when Zen Mikulski had to step in last year, that guy was not ready to play. And then he got hurt, and then they decided to shift Jackson over to tackle and bring Hinsman back into the fold and move him to center, and Sierreveld and Shabola and Montgomery all kind of rotated at guard. So they made it work. But if they had a little bit more depth that they felt comfortable with, they wouldn't have had to do all that shuffling in the first place. So Bowen understands that, and he is looking to get guys like Greer who can come in and develop and then be, a potential starter sometime in the future. So, this is a good get for the Ohio State Buckeyes. They like being able to get the best kids in the state of Ohio. Greer is certainly a solid prospect. Like I said, he's not no one would confuse him as a blue chip prospect, but he's got a lot of potential. If he gets the right coaching in him, he can develop into a really solid tackle in both pass protection and in run blocking. And that's what they're looking for. So this is a good addition here before the spring game. The Buckeyes are going to have a lot of people, a lot of recruits in town for the spring game. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them add a couple more commitments once that's finished. So, that's pretty much all I wanted to get out with you guys here. And, we welcome Greer to Columbus, and hopefully he develops into a solid player for the Buckeyes. We'll see you guys on Thursday.